These are the best pan-fried,
steamed, and boiled dumplings.
Hi, I'm Raquel. Today I'm making gyoza, the Japanese pan-fried dumplings. This recipe is from my mom, but she never measured anything. So, tasty video, I asked her specific amount, and it's also on my cookbook, Make It Japanese. Right, so let's make it. For protein, when I make gyoza, I always use pork. You want to have a juicy gyoza, and pork has nice fat. Get the pork. And mushroom, I use shiitake mushroom. Shiitake mushroom is, I think, the most popular mushroom in Japan. And then cabbage. You want to chop very, very finely, because if you cut it too big, when you wrap it, it is a little difficult to wrap it. And nira chive, I think it's called garlic chive in here. This makes my gyoza delicious. It's very strong flavor. It's very, very stinky. Grated garlic and grated ginger and sake. Kind of remove the odor from meat. We use sake a lot, especially when you're cooking like protein, fish. And we have soy sauce and sesame oil. I think most of the item except garlic chive is very accessible. You can easily find garlic chive at Korean grocery store or Asian grocery store. And season with salt and pepper. And I've been holding this spatula, but I'm gonna mix with hand. Because your hands are the best tool, you know? And you kind of want to mix evenly, and also the pork kind of get sticky. That's what you are looking for. When I was in high school, I was taking English conversation lessons, and we had a cooking competition, and everyone was making some fancy food like cheese fondue or like bread. And I made gyoza. And when I brought it, I was kind of embarrassed. It was nothing special, but I won. So, award winning in a small town in Hiroshima. For the skin, I usually get pre-made gyoza wrapper. You're gonna put on the left hand and scoop 1 teaspoon of filling. And you kind of have this urge to want to fill a lot of fillings, but when you do that, it is very difficult to fold it. So you just want to wet half border. And when you are folding gyoza, you are only folding top layer, not both sides. And I usually make 4 or 5 pleats. Just make it simple. So you kind of like push down, so it sits like that, and give a little push toward to you. So you can just pan fry dumplings, but I want to go extra miles and make hane gyoza, which means gyoza with wings. It's kind of like crispy extra thingy on the bottom. To make that, you're gonna just need flour and water and make a slurry. So just mix flour and water and set aside. When you're pan frying gyoza, I'd like to use non-stick pan or cast iron pan, and heat over medium heat and add some oil. And I'm going to add gyoza. I like pan fry because it's crispy and juicy inside. You kind of want to hear this sizzle. If not, the pan is too cold. You want to put dumpling close together because we are going to add a slurry and want to make the nice wings. So once the gyoza's bottom is nice and crispy like this, you're gonna add the slurry. Add until it comes up to like halfway of gyoza. And then close the lid and steam cook about 7 to 8 minutes. When the water is almost all evaporated, take off the lid. If you still see some water, let it evaporate completely. And you kind of start seeing the edge is already kind of separating. Kind of peel this edge, and I'm gonna pour a little bit sesame oil. Then, moment of truth. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, look at that! Who want to start gyoza restaurant with me? To be honest, this might be my best gyoza I've ever made, and I'm glad you guys are witnessed. For the dipping sauce, Itadakimasu. Soy sauce, mirin, vinegar, and sesame oil. Tastes so good. So crispy and juicy. It's a little bit labor of love, but it's gonna be fun if you do it with friends or family. So good. Can't stop. Won't stop.
Hi, I'm Jasmine, and today we are making Taiwanese steamed pork and chive dumplings. These are so good. You will love them. They're night market style, so guys, they're so good. They're so good. I've been making these dumplings since I was a kid. I love having dumpling parties. It was very common in my family to have dumpling parties, and we'll always have a bunch. We'll have pan-fried, we'll have steamed, we'll have boiled, but for steamed, this is the filling we use. We're gonna start by combining our seasonings and our aromatics. So first into this bowl, I'm gonna add soy sauce. Shaoxing wine is gonna help get rid of that porky, gamey flavor. Sesame oil, salt, white pepper, not black pepper. If you wanna do black pepper, it's your recipe. Cornstarch, and ginger. So the reason why we're adding all of it into a small bowl first is it'll help evenly incorporate all of it into the mixture. No salty pockets, it'll be even, which is what you want. Do this in front of a Taiwanese auntie and they're gonna think you're pro. Smells good already. Now to the meat of it all, no pun intended. Our ground pork, our chives, the stinkier the better, and green onions. Bring back our paste we just made, all into the bowl. Now we're just gonna give this a mix. Auntie hack number 2, once you have everything semi-incorporated, you're just gonna stir in one direction until it all binds. If you also wanna use your hands to mix, go right on ahead. All right, this is good. Now we're gonna chill this in the fridge for about 30 minutes until it's nice and set. It'll make your wrapping easier. It's time to wrap, which either will be your favorite part or the most daunting part, but don't let it be daunting. It's actually really easy. So next auntie hack is a cookie scoop. Actually, a lot of aunties will probably be like, that means you're not an auntie pro. Having even filling in every dumpling wrapper helps you with even cooking time. And that to me is professional. We're gonna start by wetting the edges of your dumpling wrapper, and we wanna let this get tacky. So that's why we do it first. And then we're gonna scoop our filling into the center, trying to make sure that when you fold it over, it's not gonna cover any of that filling. You're gonna bring the bottom of your wrapper to the top and close it. You can press down firmly, and then we're gonna do pleats on each side. So you're gonna pull that layer closest to you, fold it over, press, same thing, one more, and then a final one. You're gonna take the corner and press to make that final pleat. And then you're gonna repeat on the other side. It might take some practice, and if it comes out ugly, embrace it. They're gonna taste the same anyway, and they're gonna come out the same place too. So no pressure. And there you have it, a perfect dumpling. Isn't it so cute? And you do want it to have a base, so it has a nice ground to sit on. One final press on the pleats, and then you can put it down, and let's cover it up with a moist towel so it doesn't dry out. We don't want it cracking in the bamboo steamer. I'm gonna show you another wrapping method. This is what you would see in the back of a restaurant or at the night market stands in Taiwan with an auntie sitting at the table. This is most likely how they're folding it. And then you're gonna put this corner in between your thumb and index, and you just squeeze it. It's not gonna be the most beautiful, but it gets the job done. And when you're steaming it, honestly, it really doesn't matter. Unless you're having a dumpling folding competition, then it might matter. But it's still cute, and you still got a dumpling. You do wanna get as much air out as possible, and then seal it once more. And we're just gonna repeat until we're out of mixture. It's time to get saucy. Sauce is like looking into someone's soul. It's like showing someone your playlist, okay? It's gonna be very deep, very introspective, and yes, it is that serious. I like to do a couple of sauces, minimum of 2, maybe 3 if I'm feeling extra spicy. However, everyone looks different. I can't say this is particularly the Taiwanese sauce that you would use. Every Taiwanese person likes their sauce a little different, and you probably like your sauce a specific way at home as well. So we're gonna start with one. This is the one I like to use as a dipping sauce. So into this bowl, I'm gonna add sweet soy sauce. It is different than soy sauce. It is sweet. It adds a little bit more dimension, as well as sesame oil. Add it to your liking. I like to do a drizzle or more. And crushed garlic. Do not use pre-jarred minced garlic. Actually, if you do, it's your prerogative. But I never told you to do so. In fact, I told you not to. Fresh garlic, crushed or minced, I'm using crushed. Mix it all together and just let it marinate in itself. Let that garlic, just ooze out all the essence of that garlic into your sauce. And of course, like everything in the kitchen, give it a try as you go. That's so good. I checked 3 times, it's really good. Second sauce. This is the one that I like to throw over my dumplings. I love a hot and sour sauce. I'm like salivating as I talk about it. This is black vinegar. You'll notice that it's more than the soy sauce I'm about to add, and that's on purpose. Oh, so good. Some sugar. Feel free to use an alternative sweetener like monk fruit if you please, which is what I do at home. But don't be afraid to use sweeteners in your sauces. It is impeccable. And of course, chili oil, because who doesn't love a little bit of spice? Add it to your liking. This is about a teaspoon, but I tend to add a little bit more. Give it a good mix. To be honest, this one is my favorite sauce. I use this often. If I'm feeling lazy, I'll even opt for straight up black vinegar. Like, that's it. It's good enough and it's delightful. So good. Oftentimes I'll make this and this one ends up getting ignored, but I always make it. Now we're gonna get ready to steam. I am using a bamboo steamer, and you can use a parchment paper to line it, but pro tip, using Napa cabbage not only helps keep it from sticking, but it also brings a beautiful fragrance to your dumplings. If they're too puffy, you can break it, no problem. Just a thin layer will suffice just to cover the bottom. It's kind of like Tetris. Perfect. Now it's really time to steam. Let's bring in the dumplings. We're gonna make sure that the dumplings are not touching. Think about it yourself. Do you wanna be squeezed in between a bunch of people? You probably don't, right? Give them some space. Just making sure they're all touching the Napa cabbage and not the bamboo steamer. Officially, time to steam. Let's cover it up. And we're actually gonna bring our water to a boil to make sure we have even cooking for our dumplings. We're gonna let this cook for 8 to 10-ish minutes, and a good visual telltale sign will be if the skin is just slightly translucent. But don't go and peek and lift it early. We don't want that steam to escape. We don't want any uneven cooking. Oh my gosh, they're beautiful. Look at that. Now for the last step of every recipe, and the best part, it is time to enjoy. So I'm gonna tell you how I like to enjoy. Sauce number 1 typically gets 1 dumpling, and it starts with the first dip. You know how this one has smashed garlic? You're gonna take one of the wedges, you're gonna insert it, and then submerge the whole thing so the sauce fills the entire dumpling. When I say I like it saucy, I mean it. And then you one bite it. I feel like I'm at a Taiwanese night market. I am now using a bowl. I'm gonna fill this with a few dumplings. 3 for now. I go into the chili oil sauce and scoop it into my bowl of dumplings. Sometimes I'll even like stab my dumplings a little bit. And then I'll go back into the sauce so it gets into those holes. And then it's time to eat. That to me is perfection. If you make these, not only is it Taiwanese auntie approved, they're gonna start trying to recruit you to work the night markets.
Hi, I'm Joelle. These are some of my favorite Korean kimchi pork dumplings. They're a favorite when it comes to Lunar New Year, putting it in manju tteokguk, which is a dumpling and rice cake soup. But I think they're also great on their own, just with a delicious little dipping sauce. For my filling, we're starting with a little bit of an unconventional protein. This is actually pre-sauteed browned ground pork. And the reason that I have it pre-browned is because A, it helps guarantee that you're not gonna accidentally eat any raw pork, but also it aids the texture. Instead of becoming like one solid mass when you boil it together, it maintains a little bit of like that separation from the other ingredients, especially because we're having more hydrated ingredients such as my glass noodles. I want everything to stay a little more distinct, and in my opinion, it just has like a better mouthfeel. I also like to add some tofu, add some moisture to your dumplings. We got white onion, green onions, kimchi, the star of the show in my opinion, shiitake mushrooms, and then glass noodles. These are different from your regular rice vermicelli. They're sweet potato noodles. In my opinion, they keep a little bit of a better bouncy texture even as they're cooked, and they're just used in a lot of classic Korean dishes like japchae. And then for our seasonings, we got some soy sauce, some ginger. Of course, it's a Korean recipe, you gotta have some garlic, sesame oil, and then of course, some salt and pepper. Now, in my opinion, the easiest way to mix your dumpling filling is by hand. And I feel like it's convenient to have one gloved hand, one ungloved hand. It won't get in those hot girl nails are in your jewelry, and you can also not be porky or anything on the other hand. I also think one of the barriers to making dumplings at home is just how long it takes to chop everything. If I'm being honest, when I'm at home, I'm just gonna use a food processor. Okay, and this looks nice and smells really good already. Now onto filling. If I'm being honest, this is fully edible. This could be dinner, but we gotta make it into its final dumpling form. We have our wrappers. I'm using round wrappers, and my mom would teach me that on one side, it's generally more floured than the other side. You wanna put the filling in the less floured side, and the flour is on the exterior so it doesn't stick as it's setting and hanging out before you cook it. I'm first gonna get a little bit of water to hydrate half of the edge. I might be making this up, but I'm pretty sure the shape that I'm folding is called like a wang mandu or like king mandu because it's pretty big. And I know that my grandma would like to fold it like this because you can fit a little more filling than in other dumpling shapes. So instead of adding any fancy pleats right now, I am just folding it in half, trying to not let anything spill out and pinching it all the way around the edges. And if you're lazy or intimidated by any other dumpling folding, you could honestly just leave it like this. My grandma would do that many times, but we're gonna go the extra mile by putting a little more water on a corner and then folding it like a little hug. Make sure that there are no little air pockets or openings along your perimeter. But there we go. How cute. Like if that woke up and started singing and dancing in my kitchen, I wouldn't even be that surprised. Okay, now we have our furiously boiling water, and I know I mentioned making these for soup. I actually still prefer to cook my dumplings outside of soup if you're going to do that because you can really control the cooking time of it and make sure that they don't get soggy or waterlogged. And like I said, you can just eat them straight out of the pot too. I know a lot of people suggest that you should cook your dumplings until they float. That's how you know they're done. This, however, we have to remember all the interior bits are already cooked, so they're already floating. What we're gonna do instead, as a way that helps maintain like the nice chewy texture of the wrapper, is to throw them in the boiling water, let it come back to a boil, add half a cup of cold water, let it come back to a boil, and then add another half cup of cold water and let it come back to a boil. And the combination of the cold and hot kind of, I think, like shocks the dough into being nice and chewy instead of getting like bloated and soggy, which is like an al dente dumpling. Ooh. My dumplings are all boiled. They look and honestly smell so good. Like I said, one of my preferred styles of Korean dumpling serving is in soup. So I'm putting mine in some beef broth. This is kind of like my lazy girl version of Korean mandutakguk, which is the beef bone broth soup that you normally have on New Year, Lunar New Year, that every family has. But that broth you work for hours on. The broth is white, it's milky because of how long you boil the beef bones for. But if you're in a little bit more of a pinch, just some regular old store-bought beef broth also tastes really good. You can see my dumplings also expanded a lot when they're boiling, hence the king mandu, the big dumplings. If you're serving the soup for New Year's like my family does, you would also have da, which is Korean rice cakes in here, but mandu, the dumplings, get to be the star of the show today. Some typical toppings that you would have on the soup include some ribboned scrambled egg, as well as some slices of seaweed. I personally like a lot of green onion and a little bit of sesame seed. I'm so proud of how beautiful this little bowl of soup looks. I love that a bowl of Korean soup with dumplings, it's like every food group. That's a good dumpling. Let's not knock on boiled dumplings straight out of the pot like I said though. With a little dipping sauce, I have one with a little soy sauce, some green onions and gochugaru or Korean red pepper flakes. It's not actually that spicy, but makes a good dipping sauce. That's really good. These dumplings remind me of New Year. They remind me of family and festivity. They're also amazing to make ahead and freeze because that cooked inside. You never worry about it being a little undercooked or anything. You can throw them in the air fryer in hot water or straight on the pan and it'll be an amazing quick meal. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning some of the ways that we make our favorite dumplings. Please let us know down below what you'd like to see us make next and we'll see you soon. Bye.